Let's get straight into the show talking about Anthony Yarde. How is he post the defeat to David Benavidez?
Yeah, you know, generally, Ant is... I mean, in all the years I've known Ant, I've hardly ever seen him down in any light, you know, and I feel as of now, he's back smiling, he's back... Obviously, nobody likes to lose if you're a winner by nature. But Ant's doing very well. The smile's back out. He's living his life and he's planning his next moves.
Where do you think it went wrong on the night? We've discussed it, and you'll listen to some of the things that we've said previously and some of the things that Paul said and perhaps myself and Spencer observed. But where do you think it went wrong on the evening? Well,
listen, I was reared by a very wise man. His name's Samuel Olatobosun Adjayi, my father, and he taught me, and it's something I live by, and anyone who I've ever trained has to live by. We don't make excuses. You can come up with the best game plans. You can say this went wrong, that went wrong, we should have done this, we should have done that. But ultimately, you always have to look at the opposition that's in front of you.
Right.
David Benavidez, you have good fighters, great fighters, and special fighters. Anthony dared to challenge himself against a special fighter. So there's no finger pointing.
Did you think Benavidez was a special fighter before you went into the ring with him?
Oh, absolutely. I studied him from when he was born.
So you knew he was a special fighter?
I even knew how his son was throwing punches.
Yeah.
I'd done my homework thoroughly, so we knew the task in front of us.
So again, let me pick up the point and I'll bring you in a second, Spence. If you knew he was a special fighter, in the same way that you knew Benavidez was a special fighter, again, you must have factored that into your thinking that you're dealing with a special fighter.
Yes, sir.
So where did it go wrong?
It didn't... Listen, we just lost against a special fighter. It's not... I wouldn't make excuses for anyone. We just lost against a special fighter. I don't think any game plan that we have on that particular night would have worked. But, you know, I always have to factor in Ant's experience, where he's come from, how he's managed to fall over, get back up, fall over, get back. And we prepared, regardless if he's a special fighter, I prepared Anthony, and Anthony prepared mentally for being the best he can be. And we just come up short.
What do you make of that, Spence?
Wise words. Like, listen, I think every trainer, every fighter always believes that they could beat anybody in any division, in their weight division, and that is facts. You know, you go in there, you get the opportunity. It is all about opportunity, and you're daring to be great. And I think that if you look at Anthony Yarde's past record, and travelling out to Russia in 2019 to box Kovalev, Benavidez, who was pound for pound the monster, not just of the division, but probably pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, if not the best fighter in the world at the time. He dared to be great again, and he took him David Benavidez, who, David Benavidez wasn't a kept secret. Everyone, everyone knows what a monster this guy is. He's going through the weight divisions. They're talking about could he carry that firepower up from super middleweight into the light heavyweight division. The answer was yes. The way that he took Anthony Yarde apart, Anthony and Tunde would have gone in there with a game plan. Right, this is what we're going to do, whether that's take him into the second half of the fight, see if we can push on his engine. Yes. But the reality is, if you can't implement that, if you're just not good enough, and in the case of Anthony Yarde, he just wasn't good enough, if you can't do that, you can't do it. But you took up the challenge, and you got to respect that.
And more so, you can't make excuses.
Absolutely.
We're not here to make, Ant's never made excuses. Listen, I don't like to speak for Ant because he can articulate himself and speak for himself. But Ant's philosophy is, I don't want to, after my career is over...
Have any regrets,
and look in the mirror and say, this was offered to me.
Yeah.
We were, him, me, where we come from, we be fighting for nothing. So it's like, you just have to understand the genesis and the journey of Anthony Yarde as a fighter.
There's no disputes that we all think that Anthony's direction of travel and the choices that he's taken are admirable.
Yes.
Because he's not ducked and avoided anything.
Yes.
And created outcomes that have given him an opportunity to be considered the way he is and liked the way he is. But that doesn't alter the fact that at times we've labelled the criticism here about him being a gallant loser.
Yes.
About having an opportunity against Kovalev and gassing out in the 11th round.
Yes.
About being brave and bold and making Benavidez work, but when the levels got raised up, he gained reputation by being a gallant loser.
Yes.
Now, I don't mean that to be unkind, because we all like Anthony and we all enjoyed watching him fight and we all wanted him to win this particular fight.
Yes.
But going to your strategy for this fight, you talked about the idea, or it was suggested that you were, the game plan was to take him into the later rounds. And I think there's an element of, without wanting to be disrespectful, and I'm the least qualified person to make these observations, but I am making them in conjunction with the opinions of the boys that are more qualified to make them, that was a strategy that people thought was a bit strange. Was that, with the benefit of hindsight, I know it's going to sound like the bleed novice because he lost, was that the wrong strategy and was it the wrong thinking per se?
Yeah, who said that? Who said that was the game plan?
Well, you did after the fight.
Did I?
To Steve Bunce, apparently.
You have to show me the documentation where I said that was the game plan.
Well,
no,
apparently,
I'm not saying,
apparently that's what you said to Steve Bunce directly after the fight.
This is what I'm trying to say, Simon. Like, you never heard that from me. We didn't discuss game plans before, during, or after. We, as a team, have our own strategies. We have A, B, C. You can't just go into a fight with just one game.
I would have thought not.
So where is this? So the strategy, because I understand that and I totally get that. So you go, like, when you'll do it, before you're in the dressing room, you're warming up, you go, right, bang, you got plan A, and if that don't work, you go into B, and if you ain't got a B, you go into C. Now, if you can do that, by the way, you're a great fighter, because you can make them adjustments and adapt. What was plan A? Like, what was the original tactic? Like, before, if this doesn't work, Ant, then we're going to go switch it to B. But what was A?
To win.
Yeah, all right. Well, what was B then? Give me B. No, I mean, like, was it to box on the front foot, back foot, let him tire himself out?
Yeah, before we go into that, I said at the beginning, there's no excuses. Whatever game plan I had strategized, or we had strategized, didn't work. You know, if it was, you know, you look at from an opponent's perspective, Simon just alluded to it, gassing out. So that was covered. The fitness, we brought in Ruben Tabares, worked with David A, worked with Amir Khan, worked with many people. So we covered that area. We know Anthony can fight. Tactically, we know, but there's situations that happen in fights where you can't prepare for. Nobody prepares for a nose that's gushing blood. You see what I'm saying? So there's areas of fights where you cannot prepare for, regardless. And I say it again, anyway, I don't want to, stage by stage.
I want to bring Paul into the conversation. Before I do, I just want to throw back some quotes that you made, right, so that you're clear as to the reasons why the assertion was made about your fight plan.
Yes.
It was the plan was to come on strong later in the fight.
Yes.
But you know, sometimes the best laid plans don't go to plan. So it's one of those things.
Okay.
No one suggests that either you or Anthony would make excuses because you don't strike me those sort of characters. What people are doing in this conversation is making you accountable for the decisions that you made and understanding the thinking behind it.
Yes.
Paul, you were quite vocal on the back of the defeat to Benavidez. Before we throw to you and let you react to your own words, let's have a listen to what Paul said on the back of that defeat.
I said years ago, it's all on record, Anthony Yarde needs to get away from Tundi and the team and the setup there as quick as he can, because he's the best in that gym. He's the best around there now. You want to be a champion, you want to be a world champion, go and train with people who've won world titles or work with people who are on that level. And if you're the best in the gym, change gyms. I've always said this, if you're the smartest in the room, change rooms. And you know that more than anyone.
Absolutely.
I said this years ago now, if he does finally decide, he should have done it years ago, but if he does finally decide to go and do it and make the change, he was number 4 in the Ring Magazine rankings going into that fight. He's certainly not like right down at the bottom of the pecking order. He is probably just one win away from being back in the mix, so to speak. But that's a fight with Benavidez between the number 2 and the number 4 in the Ring Magazine rankings. And tactically, I don't think there was any tactics.
OK, whilst there's an element of throwing you under the bus, Paul, there, do you stand by those comments, given the fact you've got the man sitting next to you?
It's warm in here, isn't it? Listen, I've said what I've said. I've made no secret about it. We've had a chat before we come on here, me and Tundi. Now, what I'm saying about being the best in the gym, it's been well documented what we've seen in the past with the way you train. Anthony's the star of the gym. He's the biggest fighter in the gym. He's the most successful fighter in the gym, and rightly so. And I've always said, Anthony's a good lad, but tactically on the night, I didn't see the tactics what were there to beat Benavidez. Now, what I've always known, what I've always been told, what I've always found out, if you want to come on strong in the latter rounds of the fight, you've got to make the fighter work early in the fight. And there was none of that. It was sort of forced from what I remember and I haven't watched this since, forced onto the back foot. And Anthony's problem and Anthony's what is also a problem is also positive for him is he's gay, as you said before, and I don't like the term a gallant loser because he's not. He's a good, very good fighter, but he's known for his losses against the three. And you said before, special, great and good. He's lost to 2 special fighters, one great, one in Kovalev. Kovalev, very good fighter, probably special when he first bounced on the scene, beating Nathan cleverly. But he's been found wanting fitness-wise later on in the fight. That was one of the big things that I said on it. Because of a fast pace early on in the fight, later on in the rounds, if he was to come on strong, I don't think the engine was there to come on strong late. You've just mentioned David A. He was probably a similar type of fighter, very, very explosive, fast twitch fibres, knockout power, not known for doing 12 rounds at a good pace, shall we say. He got a lot of fighters out there early, the way he fought. The engine was the problem for me, and the tactics on the night was the problem for me. And that's what I've noticed with Anthony Yarde. A great effort against Benavidez, by the way, that goes without saying. We said that, I said that on air then at the time. I've said that on record as well.
With those criticisms in mind, if you look at the overall package, and I'll come back to you in a second, Tundi, does he have the ability? It's one thing saying that he doesn't have the engine. It's one thing perhaps the tactics. Are we looking at the reality of the fact that at that elite level, when it comes to that particular question, there's not enough ability to be able to overcome the opposition?
No, I don't think that's the case, to be honest with you. And there's a few battles to that argument. And one is he's around at the same time as Bivol and Beterbiev, and it's a very, very tough way to win a world title. As my brother Callum in the division.
That's what I was going to say.
He's also there at Callum in Britain, although they haven't fought. It's a fight that I think would be a good fight, and what I'd always like to see, and want to be confident in Callum as Tundi would be confident in Anthony Yarde, obviously. And it's not about ability at that level. You've got to have it all. You've got to have a bit of luck. There's worse fighters who've been world champion at light heavyweight than Anthony Yarde, ability-wise. But you've got to have the ability, you've got to have the fitness, you've got to have the toughness, you've got to have the tactics, you've got to have the attitude. And he has a lot of them attributes as well, by the way. And I've said this time and again, it's hard to say what I'm saying without thinking I'm going in two-footed and slapping him off. I'm not.
He's a big boy. He can take it on his shoulders.
No, I meant
I know you've got a face like a smacked ass there, Tundi, but go on. Come on.
Yeah, you know what makes me laugh?
Go ahead.
Everyone becomes Emmanuel Stewart when they're not in a position. It's like, I look at fighters, one of my favourite fighters from the UK, Kell Brook.
Yep.
He lost against Gennady Golovkin.
Sure.
He lost against Terence Crawford.
He
lost against... Well, I'm just saying.
Gennady Golovkin was going up 2 weight classes, wasn't he?
Listen to what I'm saying. He lost against... I'm talking about elite fights.
Sure.
Not elite fights, just elite fights.
But there were different reasons for the Kell Brook fight, wasn't there, Tundi? He went up weight class because he couldn't get paid at the weight class he was at.
So we have Errol Spence.
And then it damaged him.
We have Errol Spence and we have Terence Crawford. They were his weight.
Yeah.
So, and that's no... I'm saying Kell Brook is one of my favourite fighters.
Yeah.
We ain't fighting John from the pub in East End.
No, I know.
We're talking about the best of the best. We're talking about a young man that's come from East London who is a role model to so many young kids.
I hear that.
Who has taken... Paul's talking about, if you're the best, leave the gym, find another gym. All right, so Terence Crawford better leave the gym then. Floyd Mayweather better gym, because they're the best in their gym.
But they're not, losing. But they're not losing when it comes to the elite level. That's a bad example, Tundi.
So basically what you're saying is that you lose and you leave your training.
So my question is more pointed than that. Given that you've presided over the development of this kid to a certain level,
100%.
Right? And like in every walk of life, whether it be football or boxing, there's a point where the voice becomes something that people don't need to hear anymore, or they've grown out of it. Yes. You've presided over the loss to Kovalev. You've presided over the loss to Beterbiev. You've presided over the loss to Lyndon Arthur. Yep. OK, you also presided over the destruction of Lyndon Arthur in the second fight and the win in the third fight. Yes. You've also presided over the loss to Benavidez. And I also think during a period of time since the Beterbiev fight, Anthony hasn't been anywhere near as forthright as I thought he was going to be. So my question in all of this, without wanting to be in any shape or form insulting towards you, which I'm not trying to be, is there a glass ceiling where maybe a change is needed to help this last hurrah for Anthony at 35 years of age now, coming up to 36, or is it 35 this year? Is he 35 this year? 35 this year.
Yes.
So we are coming to the back end of his career, right? And especially the manner in which he fights, because he's an explosive fighter.
Yes, sir.
Is it not a consideration that maybe there is a glass ceiling, and that as wonderful as your influence has been, that maybe there's a different direction of travel for Anthony that might get him across the line, that you helped facilitate in getting him up to the line?
Yeah, I appreciate that. But you see, the thing is, there's always going to be an opinion. I, or myself, or Anthony, always look at the journey, what we've been through, what we've accomplished, what we've done when people say we shouldn't have done it. Anthony has
that's
shown...
a different argument too.
It's not really. It's not really. Because you would only know how good you are being in this situation. That's when you know if you're a great fighter. You test yourself against greatness. If you come up short, you have that experience. And it's the same for trainers. I could have been done the exact same job and Ant could have fought for a lesser world title.
Yeah.
But the way the cookie has crumbled, the way the universe has landed this thing is that Anthony's biggest challenges have been against special fighters and he refused to take them. Does that mean that I'm not doing my job? Does that mean that Anthony's... It just means that at that moment in time, he wasn't good enough at that moment in time. I don't personally think...
Can I give a little input on it, right?
Yes.
I agree with some of the stuff you're saying. This is the thing, and it's a fair bit of it's been tongue-in-cheek with myself and yourself over the years, and I don't agree with things you do. You won't agree with things like my style of fighting for you wouldn't be no good for you, yours for me, vice versa. When you're saying about the journey,
yes,
for me as a fighter, I speak as a fighter all the time, and I see fighters and I see trainers, and I am a trainer now, and it's hard to put that hat on, and I'm also a manager, and it's hard to put that hat on, and that's what you do as well. But as a fighter, the journey is only to be looked back on when you're done.
Yes.
At the very, very end. And if you're looking back on the journey while you're going, that to me is a problem. Like my brother Callum, I can only say because he's the only one definitely carrying on fighting now. Liam's in debating it, but Callum is still very much in his prime, his peak, and he's interim world champion at the weight that we're talking about. He won't be looking back at his career with fondness now. Like he's forward, he's got the goal. The journey, he's fought great fighters, but he's not done yet. And my attitude, what I'm saying on there about go and travel the world, go down the wildcard, go down all the gyms, see how they do it, see how other people do it, because if you're stuck...
No, but we've done that.
No, I get that. I get that you used to go to gyms. I understand that. But if he goes on and does that and sees how other things are doing, my problem in fights, my problem and my issue, the things I regarded and the things I observed is the tank and the engine. Yes. That was the issue to me. And then we hear stories, and only you know the truth because you're in the gym. I'm not in your gym. About not sparring, or he doesn't spar much.
Yeah, but come on, listen.
But it's a question I'd love to ask you, but I don't know if I'd get the right answer on
it's a good question.
I don't know if I'd get the answer on it.
It's a good question. But what I'm saying is, you as a fighter, if someone could get to the world title... See, this is what I'm trying to say. If somebody can get to the world title 3 times without sparring, then I think nobody should spar them. Because they're like a multitude of fighters who have never even got to that level. Do you as a fighter...
I agree with what you're saying, but this is what I'm asking. Did he spar for it?
Paul, you sparred. You sparred regularly as a fighter, right?
Yeah.
How many times did you fight for the world title?
3.
Exactly. If we
so
haven't...
He does spar then.
So if we... So it's a... No, but this is where I'm asking you to use a bit of common sense. If you think that we can get there without sparring, then you're just as fickle as all these other geezers who think that we don't spar.
This is what I'm saying.
I'm sitting next to fighters. Simon has got a way out because he can say he hasn't fought. But I'm saying what would make you think in your right mind that somebody can reach the elite level without sparring? And if that was the case, that says more about the trainer than the fighter.
That's why I'm asking you.
So what I'm saying is that he done it. He done it, Paul.
I get it. No, I get it. But this is what I wanted to know. And again, not because you're in the gym with him still.
But I find it like...
I still want to know. This is what I'm saying. It's okay sparring.
Like ludicrous.
What level did he spar at? That's what I mean.
Ludicrous that a fighter who's fought for a title 3 times would actually believe that somebody can reach that level without sparring. Just because we are not like everybody else who goes and start talking about what they start filming all their sparring and everything. Does that mean that we're not doing it?
I don't like filming sparring.
But that's no... I mean, the simple answer to the question was it's not true.
Come on, Sam.